Hi guys, it's Kat here. How are you doing? Welcome to my channel. Well, it's the evening here and everybody's calm, and I've been doing a little bit of crafting, getting my design team project ready for LavenderBlu. So I thought I'd camera on and show you guys what I kind of prepared. I thought I'd do this one a little bit differently, sort of like a little bit of a craft along with me, I guess, or a process video of how I would put this together. I will be honest, I've kind of lost my mojo a little bit. I guess we get that from time to time. I don't know why. I've been doing this intermittent fasting and keto, not fully keto diet, because I'm still learning about it, but I've been transitioning into this keto diet and I've been really loving it, to be honest. And I've got my hot cacao drink here with some almond and cashew milk, and it's sweetened with stevia. And I love that. I look forward to that. But I've been doing really well. I've lost 2.2 kilos in 4 days and I am feeling really good. I've got more energy. So I don't know, maybe it was sort of a bit of that transition. But anyway, normally I'm very organized and I kind of work it all out, but I've been listening to some stuff lately and been going to some development style workshops, and one thing I've been learning about is procrastination, and it's the fear of doing something wrong or not doing it perfectly, so we put it off. And I decided that, you know what, I'm just going to start, and I'm not going to do my normal, way I go about things. I just grabbed a whole pile of stuff and I thought, right, this is what I'm going to work with. I'm just going to grab this and this is what I'm going to work with. And I'm really happy I did it, because I'm actually feeling really inspired and I'm actually already falling in love with this journal. So I'll show you what I've done so far. I picked up these Reader's Digest books in one of my op shop hauls. So I've gutted it and taken the center out. So then I have made this little plate picture, which I thought I would put there like that. So what I did was I got one of the images and I've backed it on some, you can't probably see it too well there, but if I hold this up here, you could probably see. Let's have a look. There's just a little bit of cloth behind that and then some burlap. So I've zigzagged the cover picture onto, I think it's linen actually, and then I stitched it onto some burlap so you can see the back there. And then I've just got some embroidery trim which I found when I was going through just pulling out some things, and I thought that looked quite nice there. Now I do like my hardware. I call it my hardware. I always look. So what I've done is I've kind of gone looking through, limited myself. I thought, right, that's it. This is what I'm going to do. So I found some book plates, not book plates, some corner edges. So I thought I would put those when I'm finished. I will put those there like so. And then I found a book plate and I thought I would put that there like that. What do you reckon? And so there's the other two metal book edges. So I'll just put those back there. And then I thought I'd put that like that. And then I found this, which I got in one of my op shop hauls. This is some, I guess I'm not really sure what these are called, but to me it looks like if I make a bit of a side flippy thing and then I'll stick these down and it will secure it on the page, so with a brad. So I've not done these before, but I thought, right, I'm going to try that in this journal. And I've got a safety pin, and there's the two brads, and then here's a boho bead that I had made once before, which I found. So I thought, well, the colours will go nicely, so we'll see. I'm not saying I will use it, but that's what I'm thinking. So that's what I've got going for the cover. Now the kit itself, it's the Vintage Cat I'll link it below in the description. Sorry, this was a bit impromptu, so I don't actually know the name of the kit. I should have looked that up, but it's the LavenderBlu and it's the vintage cat or vintage kitten. And I have cut out the envelopes. So now I was printing out my pages. This is a while ago I did this, and accidentally printed one on my LaserJet printer, and I printed one on my inkjet printer. So I don't know if you can see, but this one's shiny and brighter, and this one's a little bit more vintage looking and more matte looking. So I like them both, but just to show you the difference, if you've got a laser printer or if you've got an inkjet printer. To be honest, the laser printer is good for when you're tea dyeing your papers because the ink won't run. And these, I think, look good in a vintage journal. So if you don't have a laser printer, it's not really the be-all and end-all. I have actually gotten some, run it through my printer, and I've printed my images on it. So there is a video, I think her name is G.I. Rouse, and she shows you the problem with when you're running tea stain paper like this through the printer is that the edges sometimes are a little bit like curvy, they're not completely flat, but she shows that if you hold it on to the ironing board and you sort of run your iron like that on the edge of the board, it comes out completely flat like that. So I'll find that video and I'll link that in my description as well. So these are some bags that are from the kit, which I will put together. And when I was printing out, for some reason, I was printing out different sizes. I think it was because on the email, I opened up the attachment and printed straight from the attachment, and for some reason it was printing out this size. But then when I downloaded it and printed it out properly, it printed this size, which is the correct size. But it doesn't matter because we can still use these, and we can work around it. I love cats. Oh yeah, here's some more hardware. I thought I had some more, and in fact I do think I've still probably got some more in here. There's a couple of bulb pins that I will incorporate into the journal somehow. Another bag, and I've got some book pages here from a cat book that I found when I went, I think that was the Save the Children book sale, big book sale I went on, and I found this picture, a book. I've also got a lovely book with all the Vogue prints, and I just thought that would be a little bit of fun, so I've got that. There's some of those cat pages that I pulled. Now what I've done is I've joined these pages together, and what I did was for example, I got, say I was joining these two pages together, I slightly overlapped them and I ran some glue, a bead of glue down there like that, and then I put them down together like that. So then that is glued. And then what I did was I actually got some wallpaper from another project that I had these thin strips, and this is what's left over. So then I ran some glue down, if you can imagine, and then I just glued that. Then what I did when I had that is I held it up like that so I could see through the light, and I turned it over, and then I ran some glue down the paper there like that, and then I lined up the other side. So consequently what I've got now is a sheet of paper like that, which I have pre-cut down to size to fit inside my journal, and then if you turn it over, you've got that. Now what do you do with these book pages? So if I fold this over in half, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zigzag and stitch. So I've done the same here, and this time I just did it with some offcuts of paper that I had. And what I will do is get my scoreboard and I will score that, and then I will fold it in half, and I'll just work it because it's quite thick now, but that's good because you know, it's going to hold in there nice and securely in the journal. But then I've got these pages here. Now I could leave that in there, and I don't mind doing that because, for example, when you're actually in your journal, and I'll see if I've got something here. Yeah, say for example, I do that. So I'm in my journal and I open up the page and I've got that. Now I could leave that because that's a pretty little poem there. So I could just choose to leave that like that, and I could write in the white spaces, or I could do some doodling in here, or you know, I could decorate it in some way, or I could put, for example, I could have a bag like that, and I could stick my bag down like that. You know, you could do all sorts of things. The other thing that you could do is, if you've got a piece of paper like this, for example, and you just tore it, say, tore it like that. Now you've got two sides. Now I would tear that and tear that so all four edges are torn, and you can actually glue it in there over the top, or you could leave that and then you could glue, for example, you could even do something like that, but you get what I mean. You can just tear and you could put it down there. So you could do a nice heading there, and then you could write in the rest of that. There's all sorts of things that you can do. The other option you can do, and I have done this, is you could get some gesso and you could actually, like say for example here, see I would tend to leave this because you've got a Chinese proverb there, and then you've got a little poem by Confucius, or a little saying. You might want to cover that bit over, or you might want to cover that bit over, and you can get some white gesso and you can just paint over that, and then you can write over it. So that's what you do with the book pages. I've had some people ask me, well, what do you do with it? Well, there's just some ideas there. So I'm going to work on that. So as I said, I'm just going to get some black stitch, zigzag stitch down there, and then I'll get it into my scoreboard and I will just score it and I'll work it through, and I'll just fold that in half. So what I've done is I've started to put together my pages, or my signatures rather. So I just thought I'd show you what I've done so far. So I've cut my pages down, and so if I turn this like this, so what I did was I got my my book. So I got my ruler and I measured. So I measured there, it would be around about, well, that says 13 centimeters. So then when I cut my pages, you can see here, I actually cut 26, which is double of 13. So if we look at this one here, so this printed out on an A4 piece of paper, and I've just used, I use good quality copy paper, and you can see here it's white on the background. I have not tea stained this. I'm thinking I may tea stain this in the morning, or I may stencil it, or I may even, in fact, I think what I will do is I've got some piano paper, and I think that's what I'll do. I think I'll cover this with piano paper. And so I made this 26 centimeters. And then what I did was I measured the height of my journal, and I just left about maybe 5 millimeters for the bottom, and then I came in up the top here and I said about 18.5 centimeters. So when I actually trimmed my paper, so that side there is the 26, and then when I fold that in half, that bit there is 18.7. That one is, yeah, it's about 18.7. So when I fold that in half like that, so I fold that in half, and then what will happen is that will sit inside my journal, and I'll flush that nicely at the bottom there. You see it just sits inside. It sits quite nicely actually. So that's how I work out my measurement. It's a bit rudimentary, I know, but that's how I do it. I mean, it's a junk journal. It's not supposed to be a properly bound journal book that's been pressed. You can certainly make that style if you like, but the idea of it is it's handmade. It's a junk journal. I guess what I'm trying to say as well is that this project, I've wanted to overcome my perfectionism at the way I approach things. So I've just wanted to just, you know what, just do it, and it'll work out. I've done enough of these journals, it'll work out. So don't be frightened, just get in there and dive in and just do it. So these are some of the pages from the kit. So we've got that one there, and I love cats, which is why I chose this kit. I've got a cat and a dog, but I have been a cat person most of my life. And my dog Betty Boo is just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So she's the best dog my partner's ever had, and he's had quite a few dogs, but he says that she is the best dog he has ever had. So we have been lucky with her. So that's the pages from the kit. And then I have also got the journal cards, which it's a bit of a mess here, guys. But that's what this is all about. It's about diving in, and this is real life. This is how we craft. So this is how it's going to come. So what I did was I printed out the journal kit, the journal cards. So there's those 4 there. And then what I did was I had some ivory. It's card, and I don't know how many GSMs it is, but it's slightly thicker than the copy paper, but it's not really thick card, but it's ivory, and I have been hearing that some ladies do that. So if you don't want a tea dye or coffee dye, that is an option. So you can see that I've got 3 left because the 4th one I ended up using for my cover. So I thought what I'll do is I will ink the edges of this, and I will distress the edges, and I'll just use these as journal cards. So when I make the envelope, you've got these ones here. So that's one of the envelopes. So I've started to fold it just to work out how it works. So it'll go like that. I'll glue that, which I think is really quite cute. And then I'll just pop that in there like that. If I had a thought about it, I could have printed that out on that as well. So I don't know, I may tea dye these just so that they sort of, yeah, I think I will. I think in the morning what I'll do is I'll tea dye them just lightly. So that's what I got going on there. Now my tea dyed papers, I did what a lot of people have done, because I see them on the internet now, the Medieval Mirage method of tea dyeing, but I didn't do it in the plastic box that she has. I have got a courtyard, and I've got a fold-away table that I can use, and I layer that down with plastic garbage bags. But I did like the pattern, the lace, so I was playing around with that. And so yeah, I've got some, this one's a plain one, and there's another one there. But what I did, I actually have got a pile here, which I'll show you. I was just playing around to just like, you know, like this one here, see how it's all grunged up at the bottom there? I really like that. So, and that's another pattern there that I did. Hopefully you can see that. And that's the round pattern there. And I was just playing around with different sprays and different methods. This is lace doily that I had. It's like a square, and it was a polyester cotton. So I wasn't sure what to use it for. In fact, it's one of my op shop haul videos, and one lady suggested use it to tea dye papers, so that's what I did. So they're the patterns I got there. This is the plastic tablecloth from Spotlight, and then somehow I got this lovely grungy distressed edge going there. I'm just seeing if that's torn or if that's the ink. That's actually ink, it's not torn. sometimes you get that, you get little rips in your Tito paper. So yeah, I was really happy with that. And you know, I mean, that's got a crease in it, but that doesn't matter. I can use that for some collaging or something. There you go, it's a bit brighter, that pattern there. This one here, it's torn, so I'll probably just end up using it for collaging, but I sprayed this with some, I think it's called Angel Mist or something like that. It's got a nice golden gloss to that. So I'm looking at doing some Christmas journals as well, so I think that's where I was going with all that. So there's some more. I just like to just experiment and get different patterns happening, and I just did some plain ones. There's some more playing around with the, I think it's called Angel. Oh gosh, I'm terrible. I told you this was just so impromptu. There's another of the polyester cotton. I don't think it's polyester cotton. I think it was just polyester, and they were the round doilies. So I was like, well, I'm not going to ever use them. They were pure white, and they were not vintage at all. So I used them to, you know, help me with my tea stain papers, and then I rinsed them under the water and they came out bright white again. So they definitely don't stain. So there's some more patterns that I've got. And some of these I might just tear up and use in collaging, or I might end up using them just as pages. This one here, I started to spray with the blue, so you can see a really faint rose pattern there, and it's also got the gold. So yeah, so just some more. They're just plain. This one here, what I did was I had a cake wire rack, and as I was drying it, I could see the lines there. So what I did was, as I was drying it, I lightly pressed it, and it's come out with these really faint lines. So the only problem is you're going to end up folding it like that, so it's not the right way. But I think I did some further, yeah, there we go. I did some pages like that, so I turned it, and you can see there that I've very, very faintly done that. So yeah, and then this is what I mean about the laser. There you go, that's what I did. I laser printed out these Christmas images, and then I, as it was drying, I pressed it on the cake rack. And this one is, the lines do go the right way. So. Oh, there you go. You'll see some of the Christmas papers. I don't know where I got these Christmas papers from. From Etsy, but yeah, I quite like these ones. So there you go. So that's what another thing I've been getting up to. So that's my tea dyed papers. So I pulled out a few to put into this journal. I love that look. Don't you just love that? I got my tea dye papers and I cut them down to size, so I've got those ready to go. So I've got my tea dye papers, I've got my digital kit pages. Now I've got some vintage music paper sheets. It's a bit brittle, so it'll probably be all right to, I don't know if I'll do, I probably could do it like that actually, because I've got some serviettes. I found some serviettes here with some cats on it. So I might put some music sheets, line it with some lace, and then I might just decoupage. We'll see how we go. Or I might just use these for tags, backgrounds for tags, and I might end up doing the same thing. So I've got that there. I've got my tea stain pages. Now I've started to put these together. Now I've just realised as well that they're both exactly the same, so that's fine. I'll fix that right now. And I think some of these need trimming a little bit because it looks like I'm being a bit wonky when I've cut with my trimmer. So I will go back and slightly trim that. That doesn't really matter because as long as you get the bottom straight, by the time you do the journal, as long as you get the bottom there straight, the top doesn't matter so much because you end up putting tabs on there and you end up putting paper clips and all that. So you can kind of get away with it if you're not exactly even on the top or the sides. I think if you get the bottom nice and flush, it seems to be what's important. So I will just spend some time folding that. But what I've done, I've started, so I'll take that out and I'll make that the cover there. You can see I've got some tea stain paper there, I've got a book page there, which I folded in, and what I'll do is I'll stitch the edges and then I'll just use that as a little tuck spot. Now I've got that, which I thought I would put in the middle, so I've got bows happening. So I'll sort those out. So I've got me journal cards and I've got some envelopes there, book pages, and I've already gone through this lot with you. Whoops. Okay, so we've got all that happening. I've got some of that which I'll probably use to join pages together, and I'll zigzag with my sewing machine. So some of the other things that I've got, which I thought I would include in, is I've got these fairy pages, which I liked the colours. I thought the colours would go well with those. So I've just taken them out of the book. I got my craft knife and I undid the stitching and I just gently pulled them out. The actual book that the Reader's Digest book that I gutted from my cover, I liked these, so I thought, we'll see, I might make tags out of those, I don't know what I'll do with those, but I like those. I've got a glassine bag that I printed on a long time ago, and you can see it kind of got a bit stained, and I've done something and changed my mind, and I've got a little bit of, so I thought what I would do is somehow use that up, because I've had that kicking around for a while. I've got that, which is making tags from scraps. I've got that there, so I might make a pocket out of that. I don't know yet. I've got this, which is one of the Artie Mays envelopes that I did. I know it's got a bird on it, but it doesn't matter. I thought I would maybe incorporate that. We'll see. I've got that, and I've got another glassine envelope that I printed on, and I've snipped the top for some reason, so I thought I might incorporate that on something. In fact, what I might do is I've got a bag here somewhere. Anyway, we'll see what I do with that. Now, here we go. That's what I was thinking. I don't know if it's, yeah, I might, because I've got that, which has got the cat on it, and I might cut that open. So I just get some zigzag scissors. I'll need to cut pretty much all that off. So it's gone. So now I've got a bag that is open both ends. I was thinking you can put that in like that. So I'll probably do it like that. Your paw print there. So what I might do, if it's big enough, what I could do is sew. Yeah. Anyway, we'll have a think about that, what I'm going to do with that. Bags here, which I like. I've got a card here that's got a cat on it. I have got another envelope which was gifted to me in some happy mail. I have got this which has been kicking around for a while. I have got a tag, which I like the colorings of that. I've got a napkin, and I have got this bit of little origami that I made a while ago. I thought I would use that. I've got some charms here, some cat charms. I've got a couple of postcards. So I sort of went through my stuff and I just pulled out some things. Another bag. I've got these index tab things, some tea-dyed paper that I've cut. I've got some ephemera, some scraps, more scraps. I found these stickers, so I thought I wouldn't mind using them up. So that's pretty much it. That's what I'm gonna do. I think that'll make me a nice, good sized journal to fit inside here. So that's me for tonight. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my evening now and start packing up. And I'll see you in the morning.